Thank you, Mrs. Lakshmi. Always a pleasure to meet and interact with you.
As a Rasika, if concerts were to resume now, will you attend?
That's kind of a trick question, I must say, because when I look at it, impassionately, uh, keeping aside the fact that I'm a music lover and I do want concerts to resume, my honest opinion is that given all the things that have been happening, which includes cancellation of so many leisure activities, with the travel industry being affected, major sporting events getting rescheduled, I don't see concerts happening in the very near future. My expectation is that the government would allow concerts and other activities in indoor auditoriums to resume only when they are absolutely safe that, only when they are absolutely sure that it is safe to resume events in indoor spaces. So my guess is that it's going to be at least a few more months before we can think about concerts happening. And as we all know, like, even pre-scheduled weddings are being denied permission. So in the larger picture, people are talking about the number of lives saved versus the livelihoods that have been lost. So it's going to be a raging debate for the months to come with no clear answers. So my thinking is that I will probably adopt a wait and watch approach, see what the government says, see under what circumstances the concerts resume, and then make a call as to when I'll actually start attending.
So, if I understand you right, even if concerts were to resume, you would want to know under what circumstances it is resuming, what arrangements have been made to ensure safety, and you will take a call on whether you want to attend. You're not entirely sure whether you will just attend right now because the logistics surrounding the concert is of importance to you.
Absolutely, because I would like to know what kind of additional arrangements are being made. For example, just to give you a very simple example, wearing masks is now recommended whenever one steps out of the house. But practically speaking, given the Indian weather conditions, it is pretty uncomfortable to wear a mask for an extended amount of time. Just today, I was reading in the newspaper about a cup-shaped mask that is being developed by the Department of Science and Technology, which allows people to actually breathe more comfortably and speak. So we don't know what's in store, but the way masks are today, I don't picture myself sitting in an auditorium for 2 hours with a mask on. It's just going to make the whole experience extremely uncomfortable. It's going to be a huge distraction for me personally. So I'm going to probably wait and see what other restrictions are going to be posed, before I venture out. And talking again about the logistics, I have a personal vehicle, but there are many concert goers who probably rely on autos or buses, not necessarily always having a car or a bike at their disposal. So them getting to the concert halls and back is going to be a bit of a challenge. So maybe, there is going to be a lower attendance for the months to come until things kind of return to normalcy or near normalcy.
With your academy, the Vidya Subramaniam Academy, where you teach several students music at all levels, I wanted to know whether you've heard any feedback from your students, what their anxiety levels might be at this point.
Roughly speaking, I would like to classify students and Rasikas into two broad segments. Okay, I would say category A is like the die-hard concert goer who's going to be there, rain or shine, the typical person who flies into Chennai every music season, or if they're already in Chennai, attend several concerts a month. And then there is going to be a much larger group of more casual concert goers who attend concerts if and when their schedule permits. And frankly speaking, my understanding is, the number of casual concert goers is probably a larger percentage when it comes to music students in general. So, for a large majority, I think there are a lot of pressing worries that they need to take care of, like exams being rescheduled. People don't know when schools and colleges are going to reopen and what kind of format the classes are going to be held in. People are worried about losing jobs. So my expectation is that for most of the casual category concert goers, attending concerts is going to be a lower priority. And also, with my academy being an online portal, most of my students are those who are very comfortable using digital media to access music. So they look at, not being able to attend concerts as an inconvenience. Definitely, all of us undoubtedly agree that a live concert is an unmatchable experience. However, we are pretty comfortable, listening to old concert recordings from our collections, and now with so many artists doing FB Live and all that, people are quite savvy about, quenching their thirst for music from the comfort of their home. So I think, it's going to take some time to ramp up to the old level of comfort and enthusiasm. People are going to make sure that, the pandemic is under control before they head out in large numbers. That is my best guess and take.
So if I understand you right, you feel that there are higher priorities right now, more than music, that are concerning people. So this might be a little lower on the priority scale, attending a concert, when just getting back to the essentials of normal life, career, supporting a family, and so many other things are taking precedence at this time.
Yeah, at the risk of being politically incorrect, I would say yes, because for most people, Carnatic music is a passion. It's something they enjoy, but it may not be their bread and butter. So they are going to first take care of their livelihood, their family. Like personally for me, I have school age kids. So my priority would be like, when the lockdown is lifted, I want to see what's going to happen to their school schedule and their other academic as well as non-academic activities. And once we settle back into some kind of a routine, then of course, all of us enjoy going to concerts, but I'm not going to jump into that without sorting out the more urgent requirements or pressing needs, if I may say so.
Right, I understand. And as a teacher specializing in online teaching, have you seen an uptick in the number of students expressing interest in learning with this lockdown?
Absolutely. I must say it's been a phenomenal spurt in the number of students we hear from every day. It's unimaginable. It's actually also very interesting to see a kind of a shift in demographics. Earlier most of the students would be people from abroad, but I'm seeing a huge spurt in people based in India, including those from tier 2 cities who would earlier not really consider online learning as a serious option. Most people in India still are more comfortable meeting the teacher face to face. But now, given the pandemic, I see more acceptance and openness to try out an online class. And many times new students who join tell us that, they are quite surprised about the pedagogical changes and adaptations we have been able to make successfully. Because I think there was a certain level of skepticism that online teaching is not effective, and when people actually try it out, they realize that for most students it works out very well. There is always going to be a few people who will probably switch back to face-to-face learning at the earliest opportunity, and I do understand that different students have different expectations. But I see a lot more new students. I also see a lot of older students who quit music because of lack of time. Now that things like commute have been taken out of their lives, we see a lot of working professionals having that extra hour to spare, and they want to use it for something that they've always longed to do. So if music or slokas or any of these fine arts has been on their wish list for many years, they look at this as an opportunity to come back to it. And I also find that with a lot of our younger students, they actually have been using this unexpected holiday time to actually focus and work hard on their music, taking more lessons. We give them some listening exercises. They go online, go to YouTube, listen to kacheris, take up music exams. So I think those who are fairly comfortable with online learning, and even those who are new, are looking at this as an opportunity to maybe enhance their skills using online learning methods.
So it's interesting because with so much discussion going on about how this is actually going to be negative for the art form, in cutting off the live concerts and so many programs being cancelled. From what you say, it is probably a distinct possibility that there are people who might not have been introduced to the art or taken up the art otherwise, who probably have taken up to the art, and maybe we are increasing the population of potential rasikas in this time because they have now had a chance to literally get their hands dirty, so to speak.
Yeah, that's a very interesting observation, and that's been my personal observation over the last decade or so. When I see online learning and online availability of music, I only look at it as a way to reach newer people and reach a broader segment of audience, because I think our tendency is to kind of look at, when we talk about Carnatic music related people, we tend to focus on the artists and performers who are of course very integral to the ecosystem, but that's just a small minuscule percentage of the stakeholders. I would think we need the audiences to fill the halls, and given the time constraints today, I think we need to have a good way or a hassle-free way to engage with newer students, people who may not have the time to actually go to a teacher's home and learn week after week, or people who are totally new, like you said, somebody in a city or a country where Carnatic music is not well known. I think giving them an option to learn online is very cost effective and also very efficient. So I do think the fact that so many people are kind of forced to stay within the confines of their homes has actually made people dig up things and do things that they would not have otherwise done. So that way it is an exposure. Of course, there is no denying the fact that for people, artists for whom concert performance is their main source of livelihood, this is a very difficult situation to be in. And I think we all empathize with not just artists, but all kinds of people whose livelihoods have been impacted. I see a lot of companies that are not doing well, and people who are daily wage earners. At every level, we see the impact on the economy, and that's a terrible situation. And hopefully, we will be able to get back to a near normal situation in the coming months.
Yeah, it remains to be seen because there are mixed signals. On the one hand, you would think that corporate sponsorship might go down for the arts in the near future, given that companies themselves are probably facing a big hit to the bottom line with workers staying at home in most cases. On the other hand, we are probably increasing the population of potential rasikas that could occupy a hall. So at the end of it, we wonder whether there should be some kind of bridge between the supply and the demand, because there are sometimes you feel the supply is too high when you see many empty halls.
Honestly, I also feel that when I think about artists, there are probably two categories. I mean, I think everybody who is a Carnatic artist is one because of love and passion for the art. There are no two ways about it. Uh, Artists simply love the art form, and that's why they dedicate their time, energy, and efforts to learning and performing. However, when you look at it from the monetary point of view, I think we can categorize artists into two categories. One who actually depend on Carnatic music income or incomes from kacheri specifically for their livelihood or to pay their bills, and others who have other revenue streams or who are relatively wealthy, to whom not having kacheris will not really impact their ability to carry on with their life. So if depending on which category artists belong to, I think they are going to be impacted more or less. And I would say for artists who belong to the category where you need to have kacheris to pay your bills, this is also a time for some introspection to see what could be some innovative ways in which they could develop some recurring revenue streams. That is a question I always ask many artists I speak to, because I find that most of them, I can see the passion and the love for music, but again, as a business person who's also a musician, I always like people to think about this. Like, of course, if you're wealthy enough that the money doesn't matter, then you're lucky to be privileged. But for a majority of artists or a majority of people from any walk of life, they do need to pay their rents and bills. So this is probably a time when people can introspect and see what are the creative ways, what innovative skills they have, so that they can create a niche for themselves, such that they are not left in the lurch if they don't have concerts for a month or two, because at some point in future, challenges are going to keep coming in different ways. So this is probably a time for people to kind of think about how to have these recurring income streams for themselves.
Thank you so much. I think that was very illuminating to hear your thoughts as a listener, as a mother, as a teacher. and also somebody with a musical background. So you can actually understand the issues that musicians face, the issues faced by listeners, and also potentially issues as an organizer as well. So thank you so much for chatting with me, Mrs. Vidya.
Thank you again, Mrs. Lakshmi. It was a pleasure interacting with you, and you've been doing a great job bringing together artists, organizers, rasikas, and engaging them and giving listeners an opportunity to hear their views through your podcast. So I wish you the very best in all your initiatives going forward.
Thank you so much.